I understand that fully, how that happens with doing online performances and dealing with computers and the internet and you name it.
Good evening, guys, and welcome. Sorry, I feel like I'm in a mess tonight. I tell you what happened. Tell you what happened today. I've been so busy. It's my dad's 80th birthday today, and what's happened is that we were just relaxing at home. I was watching a film, and all of a sudden, my wife said, "Did you know you got Angela on at 10 o'clock?" And I thought, 10 o'clock already, and it's 2 minutes past. So I am so sorry.
Well, hello and happy birthday to your dad. Hey.
Yeah, he's 80 today. Yeah. So there you go. Angela, now I watched your concert last night, but I didn't watch it like live. I watched it this morning because sometimes when you are playing, I'm usually in bed snoring away or dreaming about other places. But that was fantastic last night.
Thank you very much. I saw your message this morning, well, this afternoon, and I was like, well, thank you very much. There's a song I played there that you really love. And I thought, hey, I love it too. So I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.
Yeah. And so what have you been up to then?
I have been working on sort of tuning in on expanding what I've been doing online. So I do a couple of Facebook Live concerts every Sunday and Thursday, but there's a lot of other social media. So I'm sort of getting into promoting original music in the platforms using ads. And I'm learning some of the technology of being able to get out there a little more. So that on the side of working on my music, practicing, I have more releases to bring out and prepare for. So there's always a pre-release campaign that you want to put together. So you're kind of in a state of catch up if you're doing this online and you're a musician. So basically, I'm playing catch up. I'm practicing. I'm adding new tunes. I'm connecting with people, and I'm enjoying the summer too. So I'm able to get out there and now that the lockdown is kind of surfaced to a degree, though we're social distancing a little still. It's really nice to connect with people, not just only online, and then I do have a performance in September and see if I can line some more stuff up. So I guess in a nutshell, I'm always busy, always working on stuff, working on my room too. Maybe I'll sound reinforce it a little bit more and bring out new material. Yeah. So we're in a creative house here with Frank being in the film industry and we had a video to do and I have some music to do and it goes on and on. You never stop a clock on it. You just sort of play catch up, I guess is the best way to describe it. What have you been up to? I mean, other than celebrating a birthday today, and I know you're 5 hours ahead of us here in Toronto, Eastern Standard Time is 5 o'clock here, but you're 10 p.m. your time. So I understand at 1 a.m., catching my show at 1 a.m., 8 my time is kind of a stretch for many in the UK, but I still appreciate you tuning in. So what have you been up to?
Well, I've been doing some of these shows. I've been doing sorting on my radio out. And what else is there? I've just been very busy. I help out with a food bank, giving out food to the poor. I what else do I do? I run a stroke club for people who've had strokes and so yeah, so I do that. So yeah, been busy and but I've been mostly kind of like getting people for my show and everything and trying to make it much more better in different ways. So yeah, it's really been interesting. So, but the trouble is, I was kind of like watching one of your shows this morning, and there was a certain song that really, really hit me. And because every time I listen to that song, every performer sings it brilliantly. But then you've got somebody comes along which takes your breath away. And I was kind of like astonished that on the piano that you could do that, because not only you play the songs, but also sometimes you do add-ons, don't you, to songs?
I do, and there's a reason I do that. You didn't come for the radio version. If you wanted that, you'd be turning on that artist. But when it's a live performance, it's kind of about creating moments as well. So if you're an instrumentalist as well as a singer, you play an instrument, you can take and sort of, I don't want to say redefine the melody, because the melody's already there, but you're just doing a take on the melody and putting some extra solos in there and making it your own, putting your own signature on it, putting your own personality into it. And for me, I like to translate it back into an instrumental and bring it around again and do whatever. I'm so spontaneous in the moment. Some of the songs, I'll keep them the way that I ended up arranging them to be, because I'm like, hey, I kind of like what I did. But for the most part, I'm spontaneous, and I'll take it into a kind of a classical lilt to it if it needs it. And other times I'll go really rhythmic with it, or partway through it, I'll change it. And sometimes I take it in and out of itself. And I like the spontaneity of creating with music. Because technically, if you're, oh, thank you.
I love watching you, because I've always been like a secret fan, tucked away somewhere just watching and everything. You never know what I'm watching, but I just love it what you do, because what you do, you just play it, then all of a sudden you're singing it, and then next minute it's just a little bit of an add-on that really gets to you. And I was listening this morning, and I tell you what, all of a sudden I just turned it on, and all of a sudden my favorite song, and I was thinking, wow, you know what I mean? I can't believe it. And so I had to leave you a message saying, really, that was really nice of Sarang. So.
Oh, thank you very much. If you want, I'm not sure. We're very spontaneous. I'm very honored to be in the interviews with you, and sometimes I'm playing and singing, sometimes I'm not. But if you want me to during the show, I'll do the song for you again. If you want to just chat, we can do that too. So you just let me know.
No, that's fine. You can. People are asking me over here. They're saying, "Would it be possible?" I haven't seen Angela's. I've seen her website, seen everything about her, but never seen her studio. I tell you what, the trouble is, guys, what you've got to realise is that the studio, what she's got is fantastic studio. Really, really good. She's got all the things in there. I've got to go over there sometime and try to put a little bit of a keyboard in my pocket or something and take it home with me, because the equipment in there is really, really good, what she's got. She will show you in a minute. But so what's happening at the moment then? So have you got anything that's going to come out on release, or what's happening?
I do. I've been holding off on a release, and it should have come out a couple of months ago. And I'm like, I don't want to release that right now. I want to release this other one. And so with me, because I'm in pop and I'm in classical, sometimes it depends on what I write, because it really depends on the feel that I give or the direction I want to take, because I'm a little eclectic in my writing. In this case, there's one of them that I can actually release it as an instrumental and with a vocal. And I'm thinking, I really want to finish this and not just release it as the instrumental, because the vocal on it is a completely different melody on top of a very simple piano line that also has some rhythm in it, but it's kind of cool. And I'm like, well, I don't want to rush anything, because I'm not all about that. I like pressure on me, but it's got to be right. Otherwise, you're going to spend the rest of your life saying, I wish I had done this. And I don't want to write like that. So I'm holding off on a couple of them, because one has been done for a while, but I was like, I don't want to release it now. I want it to be released a little further on. And not that I don't like it. I mean, of course, I like what I write, but it's just my preference, So I'm working on finessing the vocal on it, which is not really the vocal take, but I want to make sure that the effect of what I'm doing with the melody on top of this piano part is really what I want, because there's a lot of options when you're writing, and so in such a subjective area, you're never wrong, but you want it to be the best, right? If that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm holding off until the decision I've made is correct. And it really sounds kind of odd, because basically you take a chord progression, you throw a melody down, and you can pretty much get away with anything. But these are personal things. When you're making a song, you've got to not settle. You have to go with your instinct, with what you feel, and feel is a lot in what you're creating. And sometimes you're pulling teeth trying to get it done. Other times it's just so easy. In this case, it's there's a few directions I can take with it, and it has to be with the right effect. So I think effect is the biggie in there. So anyway, I keep it to myself until it's done, but I did share it with Frank. He likes it. And sometimes I let him in on what's going on with it. And I like it too. And I wrote it a while ago, but it's sort of, I could just sit and listen to it. That's it. But you better finish it, right? You want to release this, you better finish it. So it's sitting there right now with me chipping away at it as long as I can get my campaign going here and do the release and finish the mix and mastering and etc. And then I'll get it out there and continue. I'm a little bit behind, in my opinion, on my latest album. And we're in such an indie world, and we're in such a single oriented world that even though I like to release albums, if you can kind of get yourself on a plan of when your releases are and keep doing it within the industry online, then you're kind of on the radar of being wide open with a certain release within, I believe, the first week. Everybody gets to know what's new. And if you can kind of stay on that, it can really help your music get more exposure, because you're dealing with the online world of apps and social media algorithms that kind of hold you back a little bit, So yeah, with my music, I will be releasing more. I have to finish writing, and it's swinging between classical and pop and kind of dance music, and I like to put good energy out there. I don't like to write sad stuff because I don't really want to put your brain there. I'd rather either lift you or keep you in a space that since I think music heals everyone, I'd rather keep it positive. I don't want to write a sad song. So, oh yeah. And not that I don't like to listen to them, because there's some beautiful sad songs, but I don't want my lyric content to take you there personally. Just my preference. And I know you're working on a song here, so I hope you don't mind me asking, how is your song coming along that you're working on?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm trying to get myself. I can't afford a guitar at the moment, but that's my dream, is to get myself a guitar. So that is my dream. So if anybody got a guitar out there that wants to give to me, I will be really, really grateful.
Oh, that's really nice.
But that's my dream. But the trouble is, I remember when I was at school and I was taught the guitar then. When I was when I went to church, I played the electric organ for a little while, and that was really good. But did you know, when I tried to play the piano, I couldn't? Isn't it funny?
I'm not surprised. There's a different touch. And it depends on the piano you went to as well. If it's a really old one that doesn't have weights in the keys, it's a little easier. But when you're on keyboards, some of them, there's no weight. You could blow on the keys and they'll play themselves. Then you get to a piano and you're like, whoa, okay, now we're having a workout. And you just got to do things with technique. And that actually happened to me. We had this really old piano in our family, and my great grandmother had her degree in piano, and she played. And so our piano was a Canadian company, Wright Piano Company, 1885, with the lion's legs on it. So here I am in school doing music with a piano that doesn't have weights in the keys. And then every piano I go to in school has weights. And I was like, oh, I'm in trouble now. So I had to work on my technique, and it's muscular, right? You have to develop certain things in your muscles. And even though I played all my life, it was tough on me. I was like, wow. And it took me a while to adjust to it. And I realized I cannot practice on this piano anymore. It's wrecking my technique and everything's a mess. That was my opinion anyway at the time. And so, that's tough, even going from one piano that doesn't have that in it to go from a keyboard. I have a couple of keyboards in the other room there, and they work with USB to a computer, so I can travel with them if I want to, and you can write lots of parts, record with it. But there's no weight to them. You could play it all night long and never get tired. But I have technique now, so it's a whole other story. But yeah, hey, you play keyboards, you play organ, pardon me, you play guitar, you sing, you're writing songs now.
I tried to sing. But my wife but my wife says I'm a good singer. But the trouble is, I gotta instead of lying down, I gotta sit up a bit and sing. So
Yeah, breast support. Hey.
yeah, so but yeah, yeah, singing is all right. I love singing. Everybody, we can all, every one of us can sing. Some people say, "Oh, but I can't sing." I don't believe that. We can all sing if we put our minds to it.
I believe that too. And there's that word subjective. I mean, some people are wonderful songwriters. They don't have much in the chops of the voice, but because they convey an emotion, you feel everything they do. And it's like, wow, I can identify with this. Love the song, love the story. I don't care if you're squeaking on notes. It's just giving me a chill, right?
Yeah,
If
oh
it's
yeah.
real, you'll feel it. And I'm going to walk into the other room with you here and
I
show
remember.
off. Go ahead.
What you got? I remember when my granddad he had an old Zender, right?
Uh-huh.
It was like a piano, all
A
right?
Zenda.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, okay. And have you ever heard of that one?
A Zenda? No, not a
No.
Zenda. Oh, there's lights on in here.
Like on it.
So he played the piano then.
Yeah, yeah, and he's really good on
Hey,
it. Really, really good. Then
hey.
what happened was it it was a long story. My nan took out the piano once and the piano broke. For some reason it broke. So she bought this afterwards. She was given this another piano which came from John Spencer and Co. Which was
Hmm.
like a kind of like it was a nice upright piano, and he used to play a lot of jazz on it.
Oh, I bet that was beautiful because at that time the jazz and the feel and the jazz is pretty broad now, isn't it?
It is, yeah, yeah. So he played a lot of jazz on it, and he was quite good actually, really good. But you know, people say about, but I believe anybody can put, if anybody can sing and they can do what they want if they put their mind to it.
I think so too. I think that music is a journey. You spend your lifetime learning music. You spend
Yeah,
your lifetime learning to sing. There's ear training. There's styles. There you change. You grow with it. It grows with you. I think it's a part of who we are. It's an entirely different language to me because we all speak it. We all understand music because we feel it, and you can heal. There's music healing. There's a healing art. Technical things with the healing of music to take people out of some of their ailments, and you can actually go to school for it. And that tells me that with the voice itself, it's the oldest instrument in the world, right? The human voice. So they say
Maroon.
that there's a frequency to certain voices that have completely changed people based on the frequency that they could sing. There's even if you're not singing and you're giving a speech, there are certain voices where they've studied them and indicated that people were completely uh, uh, affected by the speech based on the frequency of the voice. So to me, I think because we hear differently every single day with the pressure in the air, etc., where our tuning is changing slightly. If you use vibrato, you're moving in and out of tune. Some people can't stand what I would consider a beautiful voice. Someone might say, "Oh, that's awful. This vibrato, can't stand it." I want to hear something completely out of tune because that's just awesome to me. So it's so subjective. It's so broad in itself within styles. And you go to certain countries and there's a certain twang in the voice that we're not accustomed here, but it's beautiful there. And not that it's not beautiful here, but we're not used to it. There's certain tunings and you become used to singing. On a cruise ship, someone wanted me to sing some Bollywood, and she was from India, her and her husband, and she came and she sang in my ear. And because I play by ear as well as read, she was able to give me line by line by line, and I was able to recreate it for her using her accent and what she was using in the language. And boy, did I ever have to make some changes with my own voice to try and create that. And if I didn't have an ear for music, I would have had a lot of trouble with it. But there was this bending of the pitch in certain parts of it. I thought that is just so amazing. It's amazing what people can do with a voice. We're amazing to be able to do what we can do. You put an entire choir together and the room moves, and you can feel it in your body, and that's just a human voice. Yeah. But so I want to hear you sing sometime.
You will sometime.
So Frank's going to come down, and I'm going to sing our song for you. I'm going to give you a little tour of this little music studio I have here, and I'm going to sing the song you love that I found in messages this morning.
Yes.
Are you ready for that now, or you want to chat a little more?
No, you carry on. You carry on.
So my fiance Frank is going to come down and hold the phone. Franco, can you come and join us? Please, thank you. So I'm going to show you what this looks like in here. Got my water. All right. You're seeing paintings behind me. Some have frames, some do not. I like to collect them. So this is my artistic room. And some of these friends have done, like that one right over there. And I have baffles in here, sound reinforcement, because the piano, it's an 8.5-foot ceiling. This is a grand piano. It's a Yamaha 6.1. But the thing is, it's already up 4 and some feet right here. So it's halfway up there, and there's an awful lot of slapping off the ceiling with sound. Causes a lot of pinging, and I don't particularly like that too much. So I had to fix that. And then lots of keyboards and lots of lights in here. And this is like my oasis. This is my little sanctuary. Mm-hmm.
Angela, Joseph says, why have you got a lot of pianos?
I play them all. I've traveled with them all. One of them sitting in here is from the 90s. I've done a lot of gigs with it because there's a lot of hotels and different. I used to do a lot of corporate events, and you need to bring in a lot of gear because you're in a banquet room. And so it's great to have a grand piano in a hotel, but there's certain places where maybe there's another gig going on, so you've got to use your keyboard. And if they're using the piano either in the atrium or in the lobby or somewhere. So sometimes you need to be moving around with equipment. Sometimes you're playing outside. I've done stuff like that. So I would travel with a few of these. This one has been around a long time. I used to bring this in the ship. Everything here has been in the ship except for this little one. This is actually a synthesizer in a box. Frank is here. Hey. And I take them, I write with stuff. So I can write with 25 key keyboard. A lot of instruments are only single note instruments where they're not going to play more than one note at a time. So if you have a tiny one like this, is perfect. And then you can work with your parts, stick it into a little case with your computer and go for it. This is great. It's a synthesizer. I actually got this one to write a lot. And I realized the size of it with the programs I was running. I thought, well, with all of the traveling, that's not actually going to be a carry-on because they're not going to allow it. And they started putting all these luggage restrictions, and I was always flying to the ships with a lot of luggage. And I would bring the big keyboards, and they started putting a stop after 5 pieces. They said, well, look, no, you can't do that. So I started going with smaller stuff, and then I'd work in a dining room after hours and write, and then throw it back down onto the tracks with an 88 key. So these are great to be able to do parts on it, to work, maybe you just want to work on a bass line, get a tiny keyboard, work your part, write it over and over and over until you're happy. And so that's why I have all of these. And then sometimes I'll actually play these two here and play a little track or create something along the way. So, hey, I'm going to sing for you. Frank is here. So look at all the lights here. I picked all of these up during the quarantine, and it was wonderful to turn this into what Frank calls a bit of a semi-disco. Say hello, Frank.
The disco.
There's my fiance, Frank Caruso.
How you doing?
Yeah, I got to just pull this off of here. I'm hoping that. Please let me know if you can still hear me.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll just do this. So Frank is going to.
Okay, now I have to turn it this way.
Do you want that? Good.
Well, I can't really see here. I have to guess.
Test 1 2.
I have no reference point.
Test 1 2 1 2.
Okay, so let me help you. I'm going to help you with this. So if you stand and you back that further than you, that phone further than you back, watch it this way is the best way. That's what I do.
Okay, like this.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a light.
There you go.
There's a light
Got me.
right on you.
Got
Okay.
Okay. My sound check.
Test 1, 2.
Okay, it stopped pinging on me. So we were talking earlier about what I was doing with this, where I would take and add this extra stuff. I'm going to do that now again.
My eyes adored you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adored you, like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you. So close and yet so far. My eyes adored you, though a million miles away from you. My eyes adored you, like a million miles away from me. You couldn't see how I adored you. So close and yet so far. What's from school? Make believe you're not true. You were with me, I was 6 when we came to be. Every night over Barnegat Bridge can be going to me and you went our separate ways. Once didn't believe you're going to. You were 5th grade, I was 6th when we came to be. Walking home every day on a Barnegat Bridge can be. So we grew into me and you in our separate ways. My eyes adored you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adored you, like a million miles away from me. You couldn't see how I adored you. So close and yet so far. Say your rights, come to a letter in fortune and fame. With my fingers to the bone to make myself anew. You seem to find that no matter how years gone by, reminisce about the girls I miss and goodbye. My eyes adore you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adore you, like a million miles away from me. You couldn't see a line. So close, so close and yet so far. All my life I will remember. I wanna change it way back then. Oh, all the feelings and regret. I know I'll never, never forget my time I I always adored you, though I never laid a hand on you. I could million miles away from me and put myself I adored you. So close, so close and yet so far. Though I never laid a hand on you, I always adored you. Like a million miles away from me, still I adored you. So close and yet so far.
Brilliant. Very good.
Thank you. So I kind of gave you a few solos in there. It's fun. It's great, great melody. Wish I wrote it myself. Is it right, Bobby? Okay.
It's not bothering me, it's bothering me. It's right in the camera.
Dun, dun, dun. There you go. Actually, I have to take it right off, aren't I?
Take it.
Here, it's
There
still
we
there.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
Thank you,
Marcy from Detroit said, would it be possible, Angela, if you can play something else, please?
Which one? What is it called?
Well, Angela said, can you play anything else, please? Any
Yes,
song?
any song? Okay, absolutely.
Play one of yours.
Okay,
Yeah, play
I'll-
one of your songs.
I'll play you, because I write instrumentally and I write some of the classical, contemporary classical, as well as pop music. I'll give you one that's an instrumental that's my own from one of my albums called Dreamland Awakening.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want you to meet my dad because it's my dad's birthday today. And
Oh,
as I said to you, and I want you to sing happy birthday to him.
what's his name?
He's called Bob. I'll go and get him.
Okay,
Come here.
I like this.
So these are things online, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna come down.
Put these on.
Just wanted a different perspective.
Say hello.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Bob.
Happy birthday
To you,
happy birthday
to you,
happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to
to you.
Thank you very much.
Birthday, you're very welcome. Is there a song that you like? Because I play a mix of everything, and I'll play a song you like. I hope I know.
Okay.
If you have
Thank
a
you, my
favorite.
love. Thank you.
She's going to
You're
sing happy birthday to you.
Oh,
You can,
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you a beautiful song. Everybody think of mine. Let's try this. There's a beautiful jazzy one that you like.
or the look of love.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, because this
yes.
is dating back. That one's gonna take a bit to get to. That's gonna leave it where it is.
So-
You like Elvis songs, don't you?
Elvis? Okay, well, let me give you Elvis first because it's your birthday and it's a special day.
You're 29 again?
Don't you? You like Elvis songs?
yeah.
Like she's going to sing now.
Here's some Elvis, the King, just for you.
Only fools rushing. Falling in Take my whole one of the most recorded songs in the world.
Good player, ain't it?
Was not saved. Journey to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are to take my whole Thank you very, very much.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. If you've thought of one, I'll do it for you now. If not, I'll give you The Look of Love, which is beautiful.
One of my favorites.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you are very welcome. You're very welcome. The Look of Love.
Thank you
is-
for that.
You're welcome.
He loved that. He loved that.
1967.
Gosh.
arms, your smile can disguise a love that seems so much more than words could ever say. It takes my breath away. Is in your hands. That time tonight, let me just a start of so many nights like this. Let's take a lover's love and just seal it with a kiss. Don't ever go. I love you so.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
what
you.
a treat.
Yeah. So I kind of thank you. My fiance has been holding the phone for me. That was really, really kind of him to do that.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I kind of took it when we were talking in the beginning of your interview of me adding extra stuff to it. So I kind of really added extra stuff to it, and I like to do that. Sometimes it's a lot less. It really depends. Sometimes I'm just really simple on the piano. I think it really depends on your mood, right?
Yeah.
And so that's always a lot of fun, and it's experimental, I suppose, in a way. Change the feel a little bit, and we're so fortunate to have the ability to play music on a device. I mean, there was a time that all you could get music, the only way to get it was if a musician played it for you. You know, so we're pretty lucky, and we've been very lucky to be able to do this online during all the pandemic and the things that have been happening in the world and connecting. Look at, we're connected. We're many, many miles apart, and we're live. So I love this. Being a musician, being able to be everywhere is just great, and listen to so much talent too. I have a lot of fun. I support other friends online too, so I get a chance
Yeah,
to hear people. You know, you've been doing this quite some time too. You make it possible for people to be heard. So, okay, and you're very giving. You're running charities, and wonderful. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Well, I'd just like to kind of like help people. That's all I want to do. Did you know we just started this for people who was lonely in their homes and everything, and now we have about I don't know 35,000 followers or whatever it is. You know.
That's actually really good. And you have your radio station as well.
Yeah, really good. We just love
Oh,
it. I just love it. We started this in July last year, so over a year now, 1 month over, and it's I've met so many people, amazing people, and they've actually given their free time up, such as yourselves, to come on here to entertain people and to make people happy. It's unbelievable. You got some comments here, by the way. Hang on for a second. Robbie says, "Love it."
thank you very much.
Scott says, "Yeah."
Hi, Scott. Hey, thank you. Hi, Robbie.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So there's quite a
Thank
few
you.
here, and they and the trouble is when you kind of like playing music, people appreciate it for it. And the trouble is, what you do on Facebook and what you do in your it's like 20 years now, isn't it? You've been in the been doing this, is it?
Longer.
Longer.
Longer. I started piano. I started lessons when I was 5.
Yeah.
But I started playing when I was 3 because we had my great grandmother's piano was in our house. And the interesting thing is that my father grew up with a lot of music in his house. My grandfather, my dad's dad, and his wife, my grandmother, they played music. My grandfather and his brothers and sisters played music, but they weren't amateur musicians. They were pro musicians that always played all their life, and they were phenomenal. He played fiddle, he played stand-up bass, he played the piano, he had a lot of recording equipment, and he did a lot of fiddle competitions. So I grew up in Alberta, and there was a radio station there, it still exists, called CKRD, and it's in Red Deer, Alberta. And he did for 10 years radio shows. And he would do fiddle contests, and then he was running them at some point. But he was a phenomenal musician, was a great ear. And my grandmother, she would play. So when I met my grandfather's brothers and sisters, I had no idea they were musicians. And so when I grew up, my father grew up in a musical family, and to him it was just another day. So when I started playing the piano and I'm singing, for him, he was so used to it. I guess when he was really young, they'd take him to their shows and he'd sleep on the bench while he did a show. And phenomenal musician. Then it kind of skipped a generation. My father played accordion, then kind of gave it up. And then there's me. My sister likes to play guitar and sing. My brother played a little bit of bass, but they didn't really choose it for a career. So for me, if I had any accomplishments or I did anything in music for my dad, because he grew up with it, it was just like the expected thing, right? Because he grew up with it. So I was very lucky to have music around me and have a piano. Otherwise, what would I have done? Played other instruments, and I started very young. I was able to, while I was still in school, I was able to get a job in our local music shop, which had a music school and a Milestone Music, and I was 15 at the time. And then I got an agent, New Promotions, at that time too, and got my first gig. But my first official solo gig, I was 13 in La Fontana in Salt Spring Island. And I've always performed, even when I went to school, and I always gigged. And it's just what I knew. And my family, my father, he always knew that. My mom, she did play piano at one point for a little while and liked to sing, but she had left that as well. So for them, they just knew I did music. And for my father, he was so used to it that you're not surprised by anything if that's what you grew up with, you know what I mean? So he just knew that's what I do. And so if you take a look at a lifetime that I've spent it, I'm still trying to be a better piano player and a better singer. And that's what you do. You spend time trying to perfect things, learn new things, improve in areas, and your education never finishes itself. You're constantly being better at something, becoming a better songwriter, presentation, and it just never quits. And the funny thing is, I really appreciate getting comments. I appreciate what people say when I'm sharing music, but it goes both ways to be able to share it. If I'm feeling it, you're feeling it. And if you're appreciating it, I just appreciate having the gift of music and just being able to do something with it, because it makes me feel good. Even to hear a great song, I get excited by it. I love to feel music. So I like to share it. I've always shared music. I'm always learning new things. You know, sometimes it might be part writing for an instrument that's not mine, but I can write for it. It might be anything in my own music education is always expanding. And, you know, some will say, hey, you have no idea what you can do there. And I'm like, well, I actually do because I know what I can't do. So it's like, I wish I could do this. I can't quite do that yet. So that's always in there. And you're always thinking, well, I'd like to attain this in my ability of playing, and I'd like to conquer this song, or I'd like to write something and record it like this song makes me feel when I hear it since I was a child. And it's so exciting. And I want to write a hit song like that. Whether there's a return on it or not, it's not the point. The point is just to be able to do something that creates something that makes me feel or makes other people feel the way some of the songs I hear make me feel. And I'm like, wow, if I could do that, it would be wonderful. And I love to write. I do. But, you know, it's different when you're hearing other music other people have written, all your influences. And like you're writing a song right now. We were talking about that just recently, and you get the lyrics and get the vocal for it. And it can be challenging, but sometimes it's simple. And you're like, wow, where'd that come from? Wish it worked that way all the time instead of.
I'll promise
you know.
the next time we come on, I'll sing it for you.
Oh, I would love that. Yes, I would love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will sing it for you. The trouble is, what I like about you is like every time you play the piano or when you're singing or whatever you're doing on Facebook, there are some people around these days who don't really kind of like get it. They don't really care what they're doing. They just want to play it. But you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You really care my dad just said you're very good, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. Yeah. And the trouble is, what you do is you care what you're doing too, don't you? And what you're singing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Yeah. There's an interesting thing called ear training. Some people, when they're playing, they don't know the difference. So there's never a loss in that you go, wow, you know, I know that was off. Or, boy, you're speeding in there. You're playing so fast that you're going on Mach 12 in your speed. Some people, they don't understand. The musicianship might not be there, and they just want to play, and they're having fun, and there's no choice of it being a career. There's not some focus of honing in on the craft of playing the piano or singing or playing guitar, and so sometimes I don't think they know one way or the other. And I think the more you learn, the dangerous part is the more you learn, the more you're gonna want to make it better than it is. And so somewhere you got to find this common area ground where you can accept something. And I can accept every performance, but I cannot accept that every one of them is perfect. Even if I thought I did something wonderful, I might think, well, yeah, I love that performance. Maybe there's only a couple I've ever had where I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing. Are you kidding? And another it might be, well, I wish I kind of played that a little louder there. And I think we turn into perfectionists when we learn more. The more you learn, you know, that knowledge is a little dangerous thing. The better you want to be. You start to care the more you know. And then you realize.
We get many artists on here. We got you as a piano player. We've got an harpist. We've got violinist. We've got what else we got? We got a Swedish box person, you know, and every one of them is, including you, are talented people. And every time you come on here, I always get feedback. Wow, she's really good. Bring her back, Steve. Bring her back. And that's what people like, you know. And when people can relate to your music, you know, I could kind of like go to a theater and sit down all day and listen to Beethoven because that's my sort of music. Now, if I said to my wife, let's go to the opera, say, or listen to Beethoven on the piano, she'll say probably, oh, okay. Or she'll probably say, right, I'll meet you later on. You know what I mean? And but we all got different styles of music. And with me, for the piano, you know, because I used to go to church a lot, I was brought up with it, so I can understand it, stand it more. But the trouble is, I love it when somebody really is passionate, such as yourself, on the piano.
Thank you. Well, you feel music, and if you were brought up in it, and you're writing songs and you're singing and you've played instruments, there's some training going on with you too. You have an appreciation for finer things in music. I love Beethoven. Beethoven was one of the most successful freelance musicians of all time in his time. A lot of people worked for people. A lot of the composers, they worked. You know, there was the Catholic Church was really, really involved, and so they were under somebody, always working for. But Beethoven wasn't, and I don't mean everybody, but he was really in his own area. Wrote his own music, wrote beautiful symphonies. He just wrote so much, and then he went deaf to top it off, and still wrote phenomenal material. And we all feel it, and it never ages. Of course, it never will. And some of the pop songs came out of the beautiful melodies. And it's like, wow. I think that we still have genius musicians that are like these composers, but we see things differently now. So they're coming across differently. And some people, they didn't get their appreciation of the music until many, many years after they were gone. You're like artists, right? And I find, there's a few Beethoven pieces I absolutely love to play, but because I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to fine tune them. You practice them, you leave them, and they fall, and then you bring them back up again.
Yeah.
Like the Pathétique, the sonata.
Yeah.
I love it. It's beautiful. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh, and you remember the midsection of it? You remember the pop song Midnight Blue? Remember that?
Yeah.
Midnight Blue. Okay, that's Beethoven. And it became this very, very famous song. It became famous again. And beautiful, beautiful intro on it. A little dark. And then this theme that keeps coming back in.
That song was actually in Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. That song. Yeah. Anyway, Angela, as always, I could talk with you all night.
Oh, it's fun to talk with you. Yeah, and you're so, you're very genuine, you're very giving, you're very spiritual, and I love doing interviews with you because you always say things that touch people.
Well, I'm just kind of like I'm just me. There's nothing, I haven't got nothing to hide or nothing like that. I'm just trying to help people. And it's like Robbie, Robbie Ainsley now, Robbie comes on. And I interview him, and I love everybody who comes on here because when they spend their time on here, they're not just helping me, but they're helping other people too. You might not believe it, but a lot of people has been touched and lives has been changed because a lot of people has been on here and they've actually listened and think, yes, okay, I'm going to be like this, or I'm going to, and we just don't have just music on here. We have people talking about mental health and other subjects too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when we get Frank on here, talks about film and what he does, and we love having people on. We do, and it's a blessing, And sometimes, some people might not switch on then like a certain person, but at the end of the day, I just say, well, if you don't like it, switch off and come back another day when somebody is on that you like. And but we can't kind of like please everybody. But Angela, you're a certain person who can please anybody.
Oh, wow. Well, huge compliment. Thank you very much. It's really about connecting, isn't it? Friendship, connecting, and keeping it real. And thank you very much.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us once again.
You were very welcome.
Okay, you keep doing what you're doing and keep smiling because
I will.
Because the old world will smile with you at the same time.
Well, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. I know it's late there for you guys right now, and I'm going to get my race out quickly here now. So you're putting a fire into me because you mentioned something. I thought, get it done, girl. Yeah, I will. Thank you very, very much, and thank you for the interview. It's always fun. We always head into a direction of wonderful healing music. Thank you for that.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Have a good night.
God bless you. Bye-bye. Good night.
God bless you too. Bye-bye.